That was one of the stupid things that I've ever
Now,
listened to.
now, all that is maximum sophisticated confusion. Remember, like the whole purpose of all of this stuff is to make black people feel like they're crazy when they're questioning the situation that they're in. See, that's the whole thing that Pearl was doing the whole time, is to make her question reality. Like, you know what? Maybe it is my fault. Maybe there is no social engineering. Maybe I'm just crazy.
And like you said about like the confusion, you just start throwing in all type of random stuff like about your crackhead relative and you know homeless. And I used to be fat. And okay, what is your crackhead relative? You used to be fat, right? And what else? What else did she say? Whatever. Your family members are crackheads, and you used to be fat. What does that have to do with Black American descendants of slaves getting reparations that they're owed? That has nothing to do with nothing. But I do want to play some of this of her like anti-reparations, because that was, I think, for like I said, for you. Well, I can speak for myself. For me, because you didn't want to introduce me to this like almost a year ago, but I'm sure probably for you as well. Her random anti-reparation stance was the first red flag, because it was like, well, wait a minute, you're a dating and relationship, YouTube channel. Why are you talking about reparations right now? Like, why? For what's the purpose of that? Well,
Right.
and I can tell you what that is. Why she would do that, right? Her looks stop her from getting
Best comment ever. Shout out to Sean Williams.
Sack.
The best defensive line is those crow's feet. You know what I'm saying? Next to her eyes. All them wrinkles on her face is defensive lines. That's what
but I can tell you why she would do something like that, right? And I'll give y'all a quick example before I play the video, right, of her anti-reparation stance, right? So, okay, why would Pearly Things, who is a random, why would she make a random anti-reparations video when you're a dating and relationships YouTube channel, right? Why would you do that? It's because she just wanted to make sure that she adds, her little anti-reparation stance to the pot of all the other ones in the midst of a hot topic conversation, right? And here's what I mean by that, to be more specific. What's the brother's name that just got accused of strangling a woman? Jonathan Majors, I believe his name is, right?
Yeah, I think that's his name.
Okay, and I want to help you guys understand what I'm trying to say here. I guess I'm not articulating it that well. Okay, so Jonathan Majors, the news that came out that he was arrested for assaulting a woman, right? Then news follows up behind, like maybe a little over 24 hours later, she recanted, she lied. There's video footage that shows that what she said didn't happen. There are other witnesses that shows that that can testify that says what she said didn't happen. She basically lied on him. She lied on him. That's what it was, right? So I was very tempted to make a video about the fact that she lied on him on my main channel, just off the strength of just doing it in solidarity. You get what I'm saying? You're just doing it in solidarity just to show your support for the brother. In general, I'm doing it just because. Now, it's not that conversation was something that would be too far-fetched for my channel, but I don't really cover celebrity stuff on my channel. My main channel is politics. But just because, in solidarity with those that want to help clear this brother's name, I'm gonna just throw my Jonathan Majors' innocent video out there. You get what I'm saying? And that's what that was on her end. Like I keep saying, you're a relationship and dating channel. What reparations has to do with that is beyond me. But what you really were doing was, in the middle of this hot button conversation that keeps popping up on the internet, you see it on MSNBC and CNN and stuff like that. What I want to do is throw in my anti-stance, because I don't believe that blacks deserve it. So let me just throw this out there just so it's in the mix of content, so people can see that there is a sizable population that thinks Black Americans don't deserve it. You get what I'm saying? That was her reason for even doing that. That was the only reason that she did that, But let me play some of this right now. Let's get into it.
This is going to be hard for us. We can't do this. And
let me fast forward a little bit of it, because they were kind of like just laughing and like, I don't know, they were drunk or something in the very beginning of this clip. They weren't really talking about nothing like the first.
They always like to take race out of it. So like, let's take race out of it, right? Just to entertain that. Just Pearly Things is supposed to be like, quote unquote, coming up with some kind of wife school. Has anybody heard about that? If you guys have heard about that, yeah, throw a thumbs up in the chat if you guys heard about that. And the reason why, and the thing is that she's exhibiting all of the characteristics of a woman that she would tell a man not to deal with. She can't be accountable for doing anything wrong. Everything that she did is somebody else's fault. She had no idea what was going on. You know what I mean? Like, so even if we take race out of it, like somebody like Just Pearly Things would say to do, okay, sure, let's take race out of it. She's still not being accountable for her mistakes. And she also has an entire defense force of people who are purposely misstating the critiques that people have about her actions and her behavior. And she hasn't done anything to correct any of it. She's just sitting there enjoying it, sucking it all up. Honestly, I don't think that she took her content down this week because of any kind of issue with worrying about coming back live after all the backlash. I think that because of all of these videos and all these reaction videos, her content is getting so many views that financially she probably don't have to make any more content. I mean, the algorithm is turned up over there, so she can take a little vacation and do whatever she need to do. I mean, she even posted it up just like a business meeting. I ain't doing anything else for the rest of this week. Any questions about relationships, refer to King Riches. Have a nice day.
She put the forward message up.
Yeah, she put the memo out.
So I'm out of town right now on vacation. You know, if you need any dating or relationship advice, you know, what's the dude's name? King Richard? What's his name?
King Riches.
Oh, King Riches. Yeah. Go see my boy King Riches. Go see him. You know. But let me play some of this. Let's get into this.
I feel like you have to, if it negatively affects you, how can you bounce back? If it positively affects you, okay, how can you take that and run with it?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, this is the part I was trying to move past this part because they're just laughing and giggling, right? Let's listen to you. Jesus Christ, when y'all gonna shut up?
No comment.
Okay.
But I think everybody knows the answer to that question.
I don't want to say that.
No, I know it. So I like having like conversations.
If you missed it just now, she was just saying, I think she I'm not mistaken, she was saying, I don't want to say this, or like I don't want to, you know, like as if she didn't want to speak on it, even though they were already speaking on it. You know,
she so didn't want to say it that she decided to make a YouTube video about it.
Then put it up. Yeah.
I didn't know what I was doing. You know,
I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't really want to talk about this. I didn't know what I was doing, but let me hear upload anti-reparations video.
I'm so embarrassed. Let me just show this to the world. Like what?
This with the other side, because I'm interested just to hear like what are your thoughts about
like the effects?
Yeah, the effects.
Okay, it's more like of course.
I'm talking about the effects of, you know, slavery and Jim Crow.
Of course, there's going to be effects like that. That happened for how long? I don't
think 400 years.
Yeah, of course. But it's more like, what can you do about it? You can't do anything about it now, like in 2022. So the only thing you can do is try to be like make right going forward. I don't think like they'll talk.
Why do we need to make right going forward when we didn't do anything wrong in the first place? And thank goodness doctors don't use her strategy of dealing with problems for cancer, because everybody would be dead miserably. But anyway,
it's only black folks that have to move on. Like everybody else gets to stay in pocket, get their reparations, get their reparative justice. Native Americans are still getting paid, right? How many hundreds of years have passed? They getting paid on a regular basis, right?
So are some burritos.
Yeah, and in 2014, you know, Obama and Joe Biden facilitated the Jewish community, Jewish Holocaust survivors, getting their reparations. They facilitated it. That's a fact, right? And how many decades removed from the Holocaust were they? And they still facilitated getting them reparations. But then whenever it comes to any type of reparations for Black Americans or any type of reparative justice for Black Americans, I mean, yeah, it was bad, but I mean, just get over it. It was a long time ago. What are you gonna do?
And I'm from here on out. I'm from here on out, man. When people say that kind of stuff, when people say, yeah, you know, you guys just need to move on. People need to be like, you know what? You're right. We do just need to move on to plan B and then just walk away. Oh my God, what's plan B? Yeah, to plan B.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about reparations and stuff.
Okay, so reparations.
She sounds disgusted when she said it. Talk about reparations and
Look
stuff.
at her face. Look at her body language.
I've seen on a lot of videos, like when the law was passed that there no slavery, abolished it. We were supposed to, well, not me. The slaves were supposed to get 40 acres of mule. And I remember asking my mom, like, who agreed on that? Why 40 acres of mule? And she like was telling me like, well, back in the day, 40 acres, you had.
Time out. Isn't she based in Europe? She's in the UK, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, y'all can't tell me nothing about her not being an anti-black racist. Why are you even talking about reparations in America and you in Europe? You're in England somewhere. You're in the UK. What does this have to do with you over here? Okay. This has nothing. You're not even like a white American. You're not even here in the US being anti-reparations. You all the way across the ocean being anti-reparations for black Americans.
You all the way up the street and around the block somewhere.
That's wild. That's wild.
That's what they do.
Your own land, and a mule, you were able to put crops and be able to plant and have land to do that. And so now I've seen people calculate it like, well, if we go back and we talk about, we get the 40 acres and a mule, and then like they calculated like what else would we get now, and like what's the word, when interest, they've taxed interest on it, and they're like, we're owed like a lot of money. I'm like, if that was true today, I'd be a rich person if we got reparations. So I don't know if that's possible or if that's ever going to be a thing, but
so the problem with reparations is what percentage of white people do you think actually owned slaves in the US?
It's irrelevant because reparations was a state-sanctioned institution.
What percentage of white people benefited from segregation and Jim Crow? Let's do that one.
I don't know.
It's less than 1%.
Really?
Yeah. And the other problem is money doesn't solve poverty.
It actually does. But I want to speak that. I want to speak. That was dumb.
Bro. Did you know that like medicine doesn't help illness? Did you know that food doesn't help hunger? You didn't know that?
I forgot what the other point that I was going to make was now. That was so stupid.
I'm telling you, bro, that is one of the reasons why people literally like people get stuck and tongue-tied, because some of the stuff that these people say is so insane. You're sitting there wondering if you're actually talking to a person that has a brain inside of its skull. Yeah, just so you know, like oxygen doesn't help you stay alive. I mean, it just doesn't. Like, seriously?
That's nuts. What did she say prior to that? I gotta, because she was saying something.
Nothing.
Exactly. Nothing.
Literally, she has a platform of 1 million YouTube subscribers to listen to her say nothing.
So the problem with reparations is what percentage of white people do you think?
Oh, okay. I remember. I'll let her finish that. I remember what my point was.
Actually owned slaves in the US.
I'll just say it before I forget again, because y'all know how my memory is. What people like pasty things love to do, they love to frame the reparations conversation as a white and black thing where white people have to cut like a physical check to black people. You get what I'm saying? Like if you're white, you got to go in the bank account yourself, and you have to pay black people as white people. And that's not what the conversation is. White people don't owe black Americans anything. The United States government, the United States government owes the descendants of American slavery reparations, not white people.
But that shows the duality between
personalizing it. They love to personalize it in order to justify being against it. Well, what percentage of white people actually owned slaves. It doesn't matter. It was a state-sanctioned institution. It's irrelevant what number of white people owned slaves. But anyways, what were you gonna say?
It also shows the unspoken truth about us as outsiders. They view whiteness and being an American as hand in hand. We don't owe you anything. They're talking about white people and the United States government, because white people make up the majority interest of the United States government. You know what I'm saying? They're 70% of the population, and you know what I'm saying, they make up the majority of the people who came over and committed the atrocities that this country was born out of. You know what I'm saying? Because let's not get it twisted. You know what I'm saying? This is a country that was born out of atrocities. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, they don't see that they need to have any accountability for that.
I don't know.
It's less than 1%.
Really?
Yeah. And the other problem is money doesn't solve poverty. If money,
food doesn't solve hunger. Medicine doesn't solve sickness.
Water has never solved thirst, ever. I don't know one case of anybody who was ever thirsty and had dry mouth and cracked tongue that water did a damn thing for. It's overrated. I've never seen any studies on it. You know what I'm saying?
Jesus Christ.
solved poverty, then like people could just throw money at a poor person and they'd become rich. But lottery winners, they're like, they go broke faster than
that's a lie. That's been proven to be false. That's a myth. Lottery winners, there is no data that supports that lottery winners immediately become broke. That's
I would assume
existed for like a long time now. Like I actually watched like, you know, like a little mini documentary on that. Like that's a lie. It's not true. That lottery winners go broke within like a year or something like that.
Just being a person with a functional brain, I would assume that people who are addicted to slot machines go broke faster than every lottery ticket winner. Like,
ridiculous.
Anyone.
They don't know how to spend it.
Yeah, it's about like managing money and being able to run a business. Like I think reparations possible.
So there you go.
Like at the time, but you can't like how you're making people that didn't do anything pay for something their great grandparents did.
You're making the United States government pay for its state-sanctioned institution. They love that fake talking point. You're making people who didn't. It's not about people. What people? There's no people. It's not about people. It's about the United States government.
And also, let's not forget that she basically said that Black people inherently have no money management skills. So there's that. So what else she's saying is, by saying that we shouldn't get cash reparations because we can't, and we inherently can't manage money, is that anytime we're supposed to get money, we shouldn't get money. So we should just work our 9 to 5s for some kind of vouchers where it's determined what we get if we just hand in a coupon somewhere. Like we should all just work for WIC. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is literally what these people think. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Jesus Christ.
Even if you did the direct descendants, like most people immigrated here after slavery. Like I have a grandparent from Lithuania or a great grandparent from Lithuania.
Oh, you're saying that? Okay, I thought. Okay,
like, and you have to understand, even and then what about the white people that fought on the other side?
That fought against.
Yeah. So it's almost like I just don't know how that would work.
It's like I understand what you're saying. It's like you're grouping everybody.
Once again, white people don't owe Black American descendants of slavery anything. The United States government does. What white people did fighting on the side of the U.S., you know, it's irrelevant. Thanks, but whatever. It's irrelevant to the money that's owed by the United States government.
All the white people together, when it's like, my descendants didn't have nothing to do. We were elsewhere when all this stuff was happening in the States.
Right, Cameron Jones. Nobody ever talks about that. They got reparations for losing their slaves. Nobody ever discusses that, ever. And let's not pretend that Rob, you know, he said something to me that was I think it was like 2 days ago. That was so true that I never kind of frame things like that. But he was like, if you probably remember telling me this, stop assuming people don't know. Like that's a lie. Like this notion that people just don't know and they're just so confused and you know they know. People, you're not unaware of anything. They're not unaware of the stupidity that's coming out of their mouth. You're not unaware of the fact that the Confederates got reparations for losing their slaves after the end of the Civil War.
If they got the same last name as you, they probably got the invoices somewhere.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I could understand that.
Yeah. And so I just don't know how they would do it in a way that would like make sense. Like back then, sure. And then you have to understand, like, how many people really own plantations? That was really only the super rich people.
You go in the South, they're everywhere.
What?
I said you go in the South, they're everywhere.
No, I know, but who owns them? That's what I'm saying. Like it's not the majority of people back then.
Yeah.
Most people lived in the North. Like, because you have to think about that was a lot of
people lived in the North.
What census report is she getting that information from?
I don't know what you're talking about. Most people live. See, that's when you just start making stuff up.
This is This is Leah Thomas Amazonian babble.
Man, so you had to be a landowner.
Yeah.
So that's like the 1% back then.
Okay. I'm glad you said that. I got my mind thinking. It's not bad to like. It's not.
I'm glad you said that. You got my mind thinking.
You got your mind thinking about what?
That means that you did the exact thing that you shouldn't have done. Listened to her.
Mm-hmm.
It scares me a little.
And what irritates me is that like she's not even saying anything. Like she's not even dropping. She's not even like dropping nothing. She's not even like.
No, I ain't trying to be funny, but you know, if Just Pearly Things is actually going to be teaching women these lessons about submission, here goes the poster child video that she should have put up. Because this is submission right here.
Like I'm thinking in my head just now on this topic. Let's say that other side, right? That says no, you don't deserve this. She's sitting here, her friend is like, "Oh my God, you got me reconsidering things now. This is crazy," as if like she's like really dropping gems or like going in. Like Ben Shapiro would have went in, and even then, I would have been able to easily tear his argument apart. But at least it would have sounded good. You know,
the only thing she should have reconsidered is their friendship.
The only thing she should have reconsidered.
You know,
like literally not saying anything. Like the entire time she's been talking. She's number one, she's been saying the same thing over and over again. And you know me, Robin, how I get down. Like I like to pre-game and like listen to things before I like kind of speak on them or whatever. You know, with this off the first listen, you're right. Or if you haven't listened to it in a while, like off the second listen, but the first time in like a year, this is easy work.
Easy. I mean, you got a whole channel dedicated to more complicated issues as far as reparations that it comes to than this nonsense.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Easy work.
Like this is your average. This is your average sleeveless shirt and mullet nonsense. I mean, this is it's nothing. This is easy to debunk. You know what I mean?
Easy to debunk.
People want like to have these conversations, but it's like they're not open enough to be able to sit down with someone and say, this is my opinion on a hard topic like slavery. This is my opinion. It's like, well, how can you say that when this, that, and third? It's like, I just want to hear what your thoughts are. And then you get me thinking and I get you thinking. It's like, oh, okay, I never thought of it like that. Because if we did have reparations today, I think a lot of Black people would be out of tough situations, but I also think a lot of Black people would put themselves in worse situations because
that's that Gucci reparations argument, right? That Black Americans are so bell curved that if you give them reparations, like it's going to turn into the Chappelle skit.
You know what's crazy?
They're going to buy Gucci. They're going to buy like big trucks of Newport cigarettes. They're going to buy a bunch of weed and smoke loud and buy like, you know, cases of Hennessy and all this other kind of stuff.
You know, I just saw my counselor a couple of days ago, and the reason why I had to sit down and talk with her is because I just came to the realization that every time I get a paycheck, I just ruin my life even further. And, you know, since we have 113 supportive people in the chat, I'm just curious as to if you guys have ever experienced these same life difficulties as well.
Mm-hmm.
How stupid does that sound?
Sounds ridiculous.
Exactly.
Sounds dumb as hell.
manage money. And if like the first steps, if they were like, okay, we're going to give you reparations, but you have to go through a class where it teaches you how to properly manage your money, because once it runs out, we ain't giving you no more. We ain't nothing. And so I think that would be a great first step to be able to, if reparations was a thing, to be able to help the Black community.
You got to take a college course on finances before you get your reparations.
Man,
you never hear stupid stuff like this for anybody else. Everybody else, they get their reparative justice and reparations. They just get it. It's only Black folks. You got to take a college class on finances and economics before you get yours.
If white people don't have to take a mandatory class on racism, I don't understand why any of us have to take a mandatory class on spending money. What about people that have degrees and careers in finance where they do this every day for corporations or real estate companies and things like that? Like that's insane. Like, you know what? Tomorrow to leave out of the house, Tony, you got to take a class to breathe. Like,
I don't see government handouts helping. Like, a little bit.
Oh, right? They love that. It's a government handout. It's not a debt owed, just like when the American government gives that pays their debt to everybody else that they've wronged.
How do you not see government handouts helping?
Handout. You know?
How does she not see government handouts helping? Slavery was a government handout, and look what it did for them.
Jim Crow was a government handout, and it did great for them.
Exactly.
There literally wouldn't be a white middle class without the government handout known as the New Deal. That Black Americans weren't able to participate in. The New Deal literally created the white middle class. There was no white middle class prior to the New Deal. It literally created it. It created it. That was one of the greatest handouts ever. But when it comes time for you to get what you're justly owed, oh, well, now that's a handout.
I think like maybe initially, but I don't see evidence that that's super helpful, because you take the homeless population. How many of them are using that $600 a month
to like pocket or invest in something?
Like over a certain age, I think if you're
what does that even mean? Homeless people who are getting $600 a month. I like you. This is when you just start pulling random stuff out of the air. What about homeless people that are getting $600? I would assume if you're homeless getting $600 a month, you're probably taking care of things like, putting food in your stomach, getting yourself washed up. Maybe let me give me some new shoes or something like that. Let me get myself together. Like, where is the? I want to know where is the data. Let's skip the BS. Forget what everything that I just said. Even not. Where is the data that even supports her argument concerning that? The thing that you see with these people, that they never cite sources, they never cite any data, they never speak on books that they've read concerning this topic. They just flow with nonsense off the top of their head, and you're just supposed to accept that as law. And then you have people like her apparently friend sitting next to her going, "Oh my God, I'm so enlightened."
That's
you didn't cite anything that prove that what you're saying is true.
But see, that's why when somebody says something that's stupid, you respond with something that's just as stupid, like this. Is this homeless person that's getting $600 a month, did they just get released from slavery, and is that why they're homeless? I guarantee you she won't have any idea how to deal with that. Like, she'll step back, because the thing is that they manufacture these nonsensical talking points at places like PragerU, at the John Birch Society, and the Manhattan Institute, and they manufacture these talking points for specific reasons like this to seem like they make sense, but literally all they are is just distraction tactics. So like, don't ever stop. Don't ever let up. Always be relentless. You can, if you want to come with something stupid, I'll bring myself down and say something that's more intelligent than what you said, but equally stupid, to throw a monkey wrench in what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like, why not?
Exactly.
Homeless, like you've made choices to get there. And I have relatives that are homeless, and the reason they're homeless is because they've stolen from every family member that's let them like live with them, and then nobody wants to take care of them anymore, and now they're homeless. And I know maybe like a lot of people are going to say like I come from a very privileged position, and I totally do. But I just think, you get out the house at 18. If you're 45 and still in that situation, you did something wrong the past 20 years.
What does anything she's saying have to do with reparations for the descendants of American slavery? So now we're just going all the way around the block talking about a bunch of random nonsense,
here's
about
what it has to do.
family members being homeless and stealing. Like, what does her crackhead relative have to do with reparations for the descendants of American slavery?
were your crackhead relatives Irish slaves? And when that person was kicked out of the house at 18, was it a plantation that they were kicked out of? Those are my questions for her.
Exactly.
You couldn't have been good with money.
Yeah. Yep. I agree with that wholeheartedly, because I have conversations with my family. Like, if we're in the same situation, come next year we did something wrong. Like, if you are put into a position and there's steps to where you can change your situation, but you don't decide to change it, that means you don't want your situation to change at all. Yes, there may be obstacles in the way. You may have to jump through some hoops. It may be harder, but I feel like everyone has the opportunity to change their situation.
Well, it's kind of like you, right? Like, why are you doing this YouTube channel right now? Because you showed up on time and you were helpful.
So now she treats her like the help.
And now I pay you to come on.
Now she treats her like the help. You see that? How she just kind of, how she being real condescending now. Well, I'm helping you. These are your reparations. My YouTube channel is your reparations.
That's crazy.
Feminism.
Opportunity that you got because you showed up on time,
and
helped out early when no one else was really helping. And so that's what, like, I kind of have a pessimistic view of people in general. I think most people, like, don't show up and they don't try. And I think you could see it in the US at least, because most people get overweight over time. Yeah. And that's a direct indicator of how much you try.
Or it could be a direct indicator of a bad thyroid. Could be that, or an endocrine disease, like,
Jesus.
You think that's wrong?
I don't know if it's a direct indicator, because
so if you're overweight, that means you can't manage money, and when you get reparations, you're going to blow it on Gucci, weed, and rims. And the indicator of that is because you're overweight. Okay. The logic is pretty stupid, but all right.
I'm trying to think. I think it's a source.
Yeah, one of them. Right.
One of them. Yeah.
It's like discipline on some level.
Because
I've been over 200 pounds. I've been big, and it was because I wasn't trying hard enough at losing weight.
It's just an indicator that, like you said, discipline. You don't have discipline.
That was one of the stupid things that I've been listening to.
Now, all that is maximum sophisticated confusion. Remember, like, the whole purpose of all of this stuff is to make Black people feel like they're crazy when they're questioning the situation that they're in. See how that's the whole thing that Pearl was doing the whole time, is to make her question reality. Like, you know what? Maybe it is my fault. Maybe there is no social engineering. Maybe I'm just crazy.
And like you said about like the confusion, you just start throwing in all type of random stuff, like about your crackhead relative and homeless. And I used to be fat. And okay, what is your crackhead relative? You used to be fat, right? And what else? What else did she say? Whatever. Your family members are crackheads, and you used to be fat. What does that have to do with Black American descendants of slaves getting reparations that they're owed? That has nothing to do with nothing.
What it shows is that all of those degenerate family members she has, as much of screw ups as they are, all they have to do is make a YouTube channel, and they can snap right back into middle class or upper middle class society. That's what it shows.